All right. The Odyssey continues. As you can tell, it's probably getting a bit dark in here. Um, this is my fourth video, and they've been 20 minutes ish long each. More like 25, I guess, and I've edited these down. So I've been going for a few hours talking to a camera in a room by myself. So I'm feeling a little bit talked out, but I just wanted to get this last video done. This is a mixed bag of mainly rock and a bit of hip hop, and just basically leftovers that don't fit really in any other category. So the first one is something that I had been aware of for many years, mainly through the vinyl community, and I had never seen copies living in Melbourne, and I was always on the eye out for it, even though I can't say I knew the album completely inside out. But I think I had seen one in Melbourne, but went for a stupid amount of money. And this is Roy Harper Stormcock. I have to admit, about a year and a half ago, I found a copy of this in a record store for $30, and I knew it was cheap, and I knew I should have got it, but I had to listen on YouTube, and I just wasn't really feeling it at that time. And I know that it was like a original UK pressing with the gatefold, and I just wasn't in the mood. And I was listening on YouTube in the car on the way home, and I was like, oh, I know it's meant to be good. I know everyone's raving about it, blah, 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 blah. I didn't buy it, and I went back a couple of weeks later, and it was gone, of course. And then this sort of came up again on Trade Me, which is like our local selling platform, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get it this time. I'm going to give it a go. And it's a New Zealand pressing, so it's not the gatefold, but it's absolutely wonderful. For the price, I got it, and it's really clean. It's on the Harvest label. So just the fact that, I guess Rob Sounds Strange, who's a big fan, says he's never seen a copy, and I know they're very hard to get. I've seen two now. I don't know if they were just, Roy Harper was quite big here, and for whatever reason there's a few floating around, but the next copy I find, Rob, if you're watching, I'll try and get it for you, unless you purposely want to find one yourself in a store. We'll see, but I'm just surprised to see two in the space of a year. Anyway, sorry, on to the music. This was so much better than I thought. My jaw was dropped when I heard this. I couldn't believe how amazing it is. And the clips I'd heard on YouTube are just parts of songs here and there, so I understand why maybe I wasn't really getting it listening on the internet, but when I got down and listened to this whole thing, sat comfortably and really focused on it, as a whole piece of music, it completely made sense. Just wonderful. Roy Harper Stormcock. I am so glad I have this, and I'm so glad my ears have opened up and I can really get behind it. Wonderful, wonderful record. Very happy. So that's a good one. I will go somewhere different next, and this is a record that when I heard it, I couldn't believe I'd never heard it before. This is the Damned, Damned. Again, I was at the record fair I mentioned earlier with my friend, and he was like, "Do you have this?" I'm like, "Nah." Do I need it? He's like, "Dude, you have to get it. You absolutely need this record." And it was $15, and he said, "Just get it, man. You'll never see it again for that price." So I was like, "All right." I'm feeling like I can learn something new. I always thought the Damned were like a goth industrial band or something like that. Like, I put them in the same category as Sisters of Mercy in my mind for whatever reason. Probably the name The Damned. I didn't really. I knew there was something about putting out one of the first punk records, but I just never really decided to go and actively check them out. But as soon as I got this home, my friend was with me, and we put it on, and obviously that first track, you all know now, neat, blew me away. And I was really happy with it. And just a weird coincidence is, the night before the record fair, I did the live stream video, and we were talking about songs with the same word 3 times in a row, and someone said "Neat, Neat, Neat" by The Damned, and I was like, oh, The Damned, that's right, I need to check them out. And then the next morning, basically, I found this, so it was a really strange coincidence. Anyway, this is way more like. I mean, they're obviously a UK band, but it sounds like the Stooges. It sounds like punk. It's way more raw. Bits remind me of the Australian band The Saints. I just can't believe I didn't know this before. I'd heard of the bass player Rat Scabies. Oh no, he's a drummer. Sorry. And Captain Sensible. I'd seen a couple of his solo records, but I didn't know until. I was really impressed by this. Some really great tracks, really tight. Born to Kill, just real fun. That guitar tone is killer, especially on Neat 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 when that little solo thing comes in. It's like punk with guitar solos and balls and just a really full sound. I was really impressed. An absolute iconic cover. It's nice to know that things can come along and blow you away that you didn't know before. I just couldn't believe that I hadn't heard it. So anyway, that is a apparently rare New Zealand pressing because it's on Stiff Records, but the I in Stiff is the shape of New Zealand. Really good. Where do I go next with these guys? Apparently the second album was quite good too. Really happy with that. I probably could have put this one in the loosely modern classical previous video, but I did some trades and I got original copy of this Heat, the original first press of the first This Heat record on Piano Records. This is the version that does have the locked groove at the end of side 2, so you get into this repetitive drone that goes on forever, which is really cool. It's a little bit noisy. It needs a deep clean. But yeah, again, amazing record for what they were doing at the time. That track, 24 track loop, is the catchy, easy song, but after that, it really stretches out into lots of textures and it sort of like melts into a strange bed of sound and textures, and that it's a really weird record, so different to what was coming out at the time, and within the scene or the area that they were, it was probably stood out like a sore thumb. Really good. I really like this. For me, it's not as good as Deceit, but I can definitely appreciate where as a first album where they were going. So really happy. I mean, I think that's the only thing I'm missing now in terms of this Heat records. Well, actually, there was those reissues a couple of years, last year or the year before that I didn't get. But yeah, I think I've got everything, the main ones now. So that's that. I also had some store credit, and I was feeling a little bit not risky, but I decided I was going to buy something in the store rather than waiting for something to come in that I wanted. I thought I'm going to pick up something that I wouldn't normally buy. And I bought this here on store credit, Broadcast Work and Non-Work. Now, Dave Belson sent me a photo of this record just to check out, I think purely because the album cover is so cool, about 4 months ago. And I didn't know this album, but I knew the band Broadcast. I remember when Tender Buttons came out, and I was really into that, but I never bought the record. That one is probably a little bit more tighter and more indie, with more obvious electronic stuff, where this is probably came out in 1997 originally on Warp. So this is probably, the closest you can describe this would be something like Stereolab, but a lot more, instead of being happy and bright, overall this is a lot more moodier and psychedelic in sort of a dark electronic-y way. It feels very much like winter to me, and very dark, and it really takes you into a space. The lead singer, I've forgotten her name, it'll be on here somewhere, won't it? Passed away from getting, I think it was swine flu after touring Australia, weirdly, which I didn't know. But yeah, this is really great. I guess think Stereolab, but a bit darker and a lot more 60s influenced, but more like, I've got it here because I was going to talk about it. They were big fans of the band United States of America. So they purposely try to use a lot of the same sound effects and samples and stuff, and the same style that were used in this record. So if you like this, this is almost like it's nowhere near as psychedelic in terms of the way the songs are and that, but they definitely have some really strange out there arrangements, and really great. It's like a Warp record with 60s, just really like blooming big sounds and dark coldness to it. Sounds like a cavern of floating weirdness. Really good. Broadcast work and non-work. I really like this. I'm really happy I picked it up. Thank you for the suggestion, Dave. Record Bug. Very cool. I mean, look at that for an album cover. If that doesn't get you as well, I'm not sure what will. Really good. 1997 of Warp. That's like a 2003 reissue. Now I'm going to end on something that I don't show enough of on my channel, because I don't have enough on vinyl. That's hip hop, or I guess this is gangster rap. Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. This is on Def Jam, but this is the Australian pressing. Really cool. It's an absolute classic, produced by Rick Rubin. I mean, in terms of the evolution of hip hop, this is a really essential record. The amount of samples and political lyrics, and in terms of moving the sound forward, in terms of moving the beats and really pulling in the samples and stuff, they really push it here. There's a really cool Slayer sample here, which I forgot about until I heard it. Really good. Absolutely classic record. Cold Lampin' with Flavor is probably one of my favorite tracks because the rap is so ridiculous. It just makes me grin every time. I found this at the record fair. Don't believe the hype. No, do in this case, do believe the hype. Absolute classic. I'm very happy to get that. That's where we're at. That's the end of this. I am going to Melbourne in a week, so I'll probably pick up records there. In fact, I will pick up records there for sure. So, that's it. Stay tuned.